Hi everyone, I'm Doug Kaufman, and on behalf of Tomorrow's Technician and Continental Belts and Hose, I'd like to introduce our May 2021 Student of the Month. He's a junior in North Kansas City Schools Automotive Technology Program, an incredibly hard worker, and holder of numerous ASE student certifications. Congratulations and welcome to Wyatt Blay. Wyatt, tell us what got you interested in learning about how cars work and what happens when they don't.
I went on working on my dad's truck, an old 86 F-250 that we currently still have and drive around every once in a while. I came to be a sophomore in high school when I heard about this program. At that point, I was already looking into what I wanted to do, which was repair vehicles, because quite honestly, I have a love for anything mechanical. And when I looked into the program, I had two options. There was a diesel mechanics program, and then there was this. I chose this one because I heard that it would be tougher, and I wanted a challenge, and that would give me a good education, and it's really how I got started here.
That's great. What do you think you've learned most from Mr. Stowe in your classroom?
He's definitely taught me to have a lot more patience, and he has taught me a lot more about how to diagnose those and repair parts that need to be repaired, what not to do and what to do. Really, before he came along, I was kind of doing my own thing, learning as I went. Now I have somebody with experience that can guide me. I have much greater knowledge than what I would have otherwise.
Speaking of knowledge, you have a lot of ASE certifications. Tell me, how many do you have, and how hard did you work to pass them all?
Yeah, I passed all 10 tests. To be quite honest, it's not a matter of how much you study, because if you study, it doesn't matter how much you study. You got to get the real world experience too. Otherwise, the studying's worthless. As I've always believed, somebody who has read how to do it doesn't compare to somebody who has done it before. So that was a huge help. Essentially, pretty much everything I've done with the program and outside the program led up to my knowledge of which helped me pass.
Are you ahead of some of your classmates on the number of certifications that you have? It sounds like you probably are.
Yeah.
That's great. And as a junior, that's fantastic. It's great to hear. Tell me about some of your favorite projects that you've worked on.
Inside the class would have to be the F-250 that I talked about earlier. We recently brought it in for an alignment. We did a few other things, and we, I believe it was a couple of weeks ago, right when spring break hit, me and my dad took it back to his place. But outside of school, my favorite project which is still ongoing, is my 1961 F-100 that I am going to be restoring.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Tell me about the F-100.
My parents bought it as a Christmas present, and I got it running same day. I'm working on getting it running again, because although the engine did run, it wasn't in the best shape to be running. I had to change out the timing chain and clean sludge out of the oil pan, and the whole thing's been a challenge for me. I've had to adjust the valve lash too, because it's because it wasn't adjusted correctly in the first place.
Wow, a 60-year-old vehicle. You're working with technology that's probably a lot different than what you're dealing with in the classroom. How are you able to make that jump backward from what you're learning about today? And, is working on a carbureted engine with mechanical parts much more challenging?
My mind works in ways that promote that kind of the kind of logic that mechanical stuff gives. Really, it's just a matter of me thinking, okay, hey, this is how this works, so this should do that. And it's if you think about it, you'll be able to figure out that it's not super complicated if you know what does what, and it's pretty easy to figure that out.
That's really something. So, Wyatt, what are your plans for after high school?
Get a degree from either college, trade school, technical school. Well, I'll decide that when I graduate. It's because my interest may change on between which one I want to go to. So, and get an entry-level job in the field, build it, and after that, eventually save up, get my own shop.
Those are great goals, Wyatt. Sounds like you're heading in the right direction. Now I'm going to take a minute to speak to your instructor, Jack Stowe. Jack says that Wyatt, who has a diagnosis of ADHD, anxiety, autism, Asperger's, and bipolar disorder, may not be a traditional student, but he is one who's a great example of reaching the goals you set your mind to. Jack, what can you tell me about Wyatt's presence in the classroom environment? What qualities shine the most when you're watching him turn the wrench?
I got to stay sharp just because normally kids will ask me something and I'll just shake my head about that doesn't even make sense. When Wyatt says something, I listen because I can't just rattle off one of my back pocket answers that I normally give. I could, but he checks on me and he'll call me out on my stuff, man. So he's good for me because he keeps me in check. And I think that C-Tech and the program's good for him and in growing and just getting to be a kid. I told him if he knocks everything out of the park and does exactly what I say, when I say to do it, he can be here all day next year, which means he'd be a leader for my incoming juniors. If we can get him to the point that he can do that, dude, that'll be the success story of my career. I don't care how many kids fix cars. Getting Wyatt, be able to hit that clock and be a leader, that's the one. Having him, it's refreshing to see someone that excited about working on things. It's wonderful. Seeing a junior pass 10 student ASE tests on their first try, I got to say, that got my attention. And he did it in the COVID year. He hasn't had what all my students before have had of me. So now that we're back to 5 days a week, staying out in front of him, it's getting this old man hustling.
Thanks, Jack. And Wyatt, once again, on behalf of Continental and Tomorrow's Technician, congratulations on being named Student of the Month, and good luck with everything moving forward. Instructors, if you have the next Student of the Month in your classroom, please nominate him or her today. Just go to tomorrowstechnician.com to find the entry form. I'm Doug Kaufman, and I'll talk to you again soon.